All right, we're back. Prog Will Find a Way, your podcast and videocast about everything progressive music. I'm Jonathan Block.
And I'm Jay Valade.
I'm Tim.
Tim's back with us.
We're going to finish out the Cruise to the Edge review.
Days 3 through 5.
3 through 5.
All
Watch
right.
our last episode for the first 2 days.
Yep, link down below.
And now we got days 3 through 5, where more and more prog. How much more prog could you have?
As
None.
much as we could get.
Apparently 3 more days.
Three more
Solid
days.
days.
All right,
All right, so day 3.
Day
we got-
3, boats docked in Puerto Plata, Dominican Republic.
So I'm noticing, I didn't see this before, theme night. What does that mean?
So, yeah, they had a theme every night. Cape night, of course. Especially
Cape
since...
night.
For Rick.
No, there's a
Rick
Cape
Wakeman?
night. Since 2013, there's been a Cape night.
I'm
So
thinking of a
everybody
different
wears
cape.
a cape?
No.
No, I know it's a different cape. That's why I was...
Only people that wanted to do that and not go to 17 concerts because they had to go, and it's become very lavish. You got a couple guys from Germany who basically they look like big. They probably work at the BMW factory and ride motorcycles, and they're in their bathing suit and these crazy gaudy capes, and because they want to win. Because this year they were giving out like a stateroom for the next cruise.
Oh,
Okay.
So now it made sense, but we never did theme nights.
All right.
We're
Okay.
party
So
poopers.
they weren't giving away.
We're there for
Rick
the
Wakeman
music.
cape.
Period.
So Magic Pie again.
Magic Pie, yeah, and it's a really great band, and they have a new album out, and they did
I
actually,
don't know Magic Pie.
yeah, I didn't know them until a couple cruises ago.
Okay.
And they're good. They're prog,
Okay.
and they play well, and
So I got Car Mechanic and I got Magic Pie that I have to listen
On your
oh,
list.
Car Mechanic,
I know.
yeah. So
Big Train.
Big Train was, without argument, probably the best band and set in several years because
Really?
because they weren't out at the pool where there's wind and there's issues. They were in the Stardust Lounge. They kind of came on late. They were monkeying with a lot of equipment.
Yeah.
They got a lot of moving parts there. And the best thing about them is it's a lot. First of all, tight band.
The new singer
new
is
singer is
still,
now
has he
been-
found his legs?
Oh, yeah.
Well, you loved him last time, but is he
he's
still...
just gotten better and better. And now he played the drums on one song, and Nick came out and played guitar. They're flipping instruments. The lead guitarist is Ricard, who's Beardfish, the leader of Beardfish, a Swedish band, and just everybody in that band is exceptional musicians, and they showed that, and they went into some of the back catalog that Alberto, the new singer, hadn't done before.
Yeah.
And now they have a live album coming out in a couple months
great.
of a lot of the old back catalog songs, and so he's picked up a lot of David Longdon's stuff, and they've kind of remixed it, remastered it, rearranged it a little bit.
Well, yeah, you got
to fit his style.
Sure.
But he's playing keys right in front of you. He's got the guitar at times. He's jumping around. He went out into the crowd, went all the way up one side, came down the other, sat with people and while he's singing. It just was a lot of energy. High energy guy, high energy that transcended into the band.
Best of show?
Not yet.
Okay.
We're going to get there.
So far, though.
So far, we were thinking
That's
we've seen a lot of great music.
Yeah.
That was solid.
All right. Next was Pendragon.
Yeah, so Pendragon's been around for about 150 years.
Yeah.
We
And I don't know their music very
it
well.
was either them or Jazz Sabbath. So
No, you should definitely see Pendragon.
yeah, and
Was that the only time they were playing?
no, they played a couple times,
Okay.
but they were outdoors, and you're outside. It's the afternoon. You don't want to go inside.
Yeah.
We were just there a couple hours ago.
Yeah.
So we did that. Dropped in and saw Gabrielle again. He's just really good. I mean, it was amazing.
Dawn of
find.
the Dead was playing.
Yeah, no.
Movie.
So the crazy thing about that was,
Prog of the Dead theme.
and the thing is that we just happened to be like, the first time we saw him was like, well, why would we go see somebody named Gabrielle Lagudo? And then we walked in, 2 nights before, going,
So did you catch him every time?
yep.
All right.
Gazpacho, who's been on the boat before, a little sleepy.
oh, yeah?
Yeah, they are. They're a little sleepy.
So did you see Wakeman or not?
No.
No. Okay.
No.
I thought you
That's it.
snuck into the.
No, we kind of listened from the back for 10 minutes and then kept on moving. And the same shticks, you know.
Well, Tim and I saw Rick at the Fairfield Theater, or at the Fairfield Community Theater.
Oh right.
over
Yeah.
the
Yeah. I remember that
winter,
show.
whenever
yeah.
we saw
Yeah.
it.
And-
And so
yeah.
it's probably the same shit.
It's the same.
And I
stuff.
had a front row ticket because of him. And I had a front row ticket for this one, but Marco didn't want to see him.
Right.
Okay.
Similar.
So
okay.
we
Gazpacho.
we dropped in on Gazpacho, which, you know, they're a really solid band.
David Cross Band, did Fripp come out and play Starless with him?
Did you see them? Did you see the Cross Band ever?
Yeah, we've seen them before, and they played the night before before Neil Morse, but we missed that too because of our flight.
How was that? Because they played up in Hampton.
I know that they were touring the Lark's Tongues album. That was
Okay.
part of what they were supposed to be playing.
Well,
but I don't know for this. But I know when they played
We saw
up
them
in
for about
Hampton-
half an hour, and then we had to get in line, not in line, but we had to get over to the Spinnaker Lounge for Trifecta because I had to see those guys because I love their music and I love them as musicians.
Now,
So,
Trifecta is Nick Beggs.
yep.
And who
Craig
else?
Blundell
Okay.
and Adam Holtzman.
So it's Steve Wilson
And
band
Steve-
without Steve Wilson?
and Randy.
And Randy.
But I digress. Randy was the guitarist, so it was a Steve Wilson band without Steve. I don't know why Steven didn't just show up, give us a little.
Well, he's on tour.
Well,
So were they?
No, they were with us.
No, I know. That's what I
Then
mean.
he went
So-
on tour.
Yeah. So
They
he,
went on
He
tour
was
with them.
getting things ready.
he was.
Yeah, getting
He was
that audio video
Packing.
thing going.
packing.
Telling his wife, "I don't really need you for this tour. we'll dub your voice in." So they were absolutely mesmerizing because it's just solid fusion prog, and Craig, it brings a lot of energy.
Yeah. So how were they? Because that's similar to the Aristocrats in concept, where it's like
It is very
and
much so.
How were they compared to the Aristocrats? They're less
It's a
fusiony, and Nick sings on a couple
Well,
things. right?
you'd be seeing them both if you did. You go. That was the night you saw the Aristocrats, right?
Yes.
So you saw
So-
Trifecta then.
So
Right in a row.
It's a completely different sound because those guys are more King Crimson, Prague,
Yeah.
and as we know, Aristocrats are
more
not. They're
fusion-y.
not Prague. They're
Yeah, they're
more
more
like
they're definitely more
like I said
fusion-y.
before. It's like
Yeah.
it's like disruptive fusion jazz.
Totally. Right.
Totally. And Marco Miniman, by design, would say that he's not a prog drummer. He's not. He's more of a jazz drummer.
Understood.
yeah.
I'm just making the
Whereas
comparison
Craig-
to Stephen Wilson because they've all, except for the bass player
Yeah.
of the Aristocrats, have played with Stephen Wilson.
That's right. True. True. And so there's a song called The Enigma of Mr. Fripp. And so they made paper airplanes that they flew into the crowd. And I'm sure
You
Mr.
could
Fripp,
follow along.
yes, I'm sure Mr. Fripp, who was on board the boat, didn't appreciate it.
Well, could he have? He could have come out and played that with them.
Yes. One of them landed. I don't think he brought any equipment.
I don't. He
Except the
probably
microphone.
didn't.
So anyway,
Well,
very quickly, yeah, Aristocrats played that night. We never saw Marvin because we're not big fans. We only saw the first 20 minutes of Aristocrats.
Because you had the Caligula's horse after
Caligula's Horse, Australian band. First time ever on the cruise. First time in the United States, I think. And now we're not even in the United States. Just left Dominican Republic. First mosh pit in the history of Cruise to the Edge.
And
Insane. Caligula's Horse. They brought the energy, and there's a bunch of young Australian kids that came on this
okay.
because of them. And it was crazy. Security was kind of pushing people back around. So it was a lot of fun. I got some video. It's not something you want to tell your wife and children that you were almost in the middle,
Mosh pit.
out in the middle of the ocean. It was so much fun. They're so engaging. All the guys in the band are, approachable. They're loving being on the boat, and they're just super energy. They were guests on the Prog, the Wheel of Prague, and brought a lot of laughter.
Okay.
And their music is real heavy. So you should, I would definitely check out Caligula's Horse if you have a chance.
All right.
All right.
And so the next day,
Day
Gotta make my list.
Yep.
Day 4.
yeah, so a lot of firsts this cruise for bands, and so that meant for us, having been on the cruise, I think there's 14 bands that had never been on Cruise to the Edge. So day
So
four-
photo experience. Robert Fripp and David Singleton did a photo experience.
yeah, so everybody
hilarious.
was obligated to do photo experiences, and it was on a first come first served basis that people would line up down the stairwells and everything else.
Yeah.
We had with VIP credentials to go ahead and go in front of everybody, but it seemed like there was always something that was more pressing
Than
than
getting your picture taken with
taken
Robert Fripp.
with people or anybody
Okay.
for any reason.
Saga, Steve Hackett. Come on.
No, but
I'm joking.
They don't. They want to take.
Aristocrats?
Do you think they want to take a picture with me?
No, of course not.
Well, we did the Thank You Scientist, which they switched things around. So that was Haken, Riverside, and Thank You Scientist. So we did that
Okay.
when that happened.
Okay.
But so day 4, we're back out at sea. We caught a bit of Moon Safari. The music, when you listen to it, you think is pretty accessible, simple, kind of great vocal harmonies. But then when you see them play, you're like, holy crap, they're doing a lot.
Okay.
Yes is doing a lot, and Haken's doing a lot. But these guys, it's subtle.
Is
it's
he
all
really doing a lot? I'm joking.
no, not anymore. But Billy was on board. We saw Billy a lot.
okay.
Yeah, he played with Dave Kersner. Always does.
Are you going to that show, Jay?
Not at this point.
It's Tuesday.
It's this Tuesday.
All right. Well, we'll talk. Because if I say I'm going, he won't go, and if he says he's going, because that's what happened with Lepers last week. I'm just saying. Yeah. So
Hey.
yeah.
All right.
So
Moon Safari was good.
they
IQ
were great.
again.
Yep. IQ, fabulous. Then
Did you see them the second time?
yeah, for just like a half an
Same
hour.
set
Was
or
it the
different?
same set? Or?
It wasn't. So
Nice.
they mixed it up a little bit at the beginning. I don't know how they finished because
That's
we
nice.
had to get to the Spinnaker for Temec.
Okay.
And this was the
The highlight?
pearl in the oyster because it's Eric Gillette on guitar with his writing partner Diego, who's the keyboardist, was the keyboardist for Haken. Diego Tejada is from Mexico City. Eric Gillette's U.S. guy. Super great musicians. They met on Cruise to the Edge and other venues because they did Shattered Fortress with Mike Portnoy years ago.
Okay.
So they started writing things during COVID, and they were like, let's put a band together. So they find this spectacular drummer from Norway.
Very international.
This is the most international band you'll ever hear about. Bass guitarist from Spain,
Okay.
absolute beast, and then Frederick, the lead singer, is Swedish.
Okay.
So you got 5 countries represented right there, and they are super cohesive unit, very heavy. I would say was probably, besides Caligula's Horse, the heaviest band on the ship.
Okay.
And
Okay.
but Frederick, his voice is very melodic, and so it kind of cuts through all that heavy a lot of syncopated stuff. And he gets into the crowd, and he's a good-looking dude. And he gets in there with you, and he sits and he's singing like really heavy. But he's like wearing like a Hawaii 5-0 shirt, short blonde hair, and he's singing prog. He's singing like heavy prog.
He's the grain bonnet of
Like he's doing push-ups. Yeah, exactly. Pierce Brosnan of Prague. But so Temec was a real treat.
you've
I liked
talked
them
about
prior.
them, but yeah. So have they been on the cruise before, or you've seen them elsewhere?
This was their first
Okay.
performance. They did 4 shows as a unit before they did the cruise. That's it, ever. So
Yeah.
5th and
Okay.
6th.
So what do they have
Okay.
out? They have
They have one album.
out.
That's it. So they're very limited set list. And then when we were disembarking, as you know, like the first people getting off the ship because of our credentials, at like after we had breakfast next to Robert Fripp, is that there were only 4 people in front of us, a couple of security guys, and Eric Gillette with his guitars on wheels and his Neil Morse band backpack, which is kind of cute. And I couldn't help it. It's 7:00 in the morning, and he'd played the last show of the cruise we're going to get to on day 5 was Temec was supposed to be at the pool stage. Big rainstorm. Oh. They canceled the show. They moved all the equipment into the atrium lobby.
Okay.
And there was 1,000 people in this house. It was insanity. And Temec was just ripped, so they played till maybe 1:00 in the morning, 1:30.
Oh, man.
And then at 7 a.m., here's Eric getting off the boat. And I said, first of all, last night was truly magic. And thank you for not giving up on the cruise, not giving up on all of us.
Yeah.
But I said, next year, he goes, yeah, I talked to Larry's people. We're going to be on the ship. I think we're going to be on the boat. Well,
Cool.
he's not listed.
Yeah.
They're not listed. Okay. So I don't know what happened there.
Right.
But I needed to get to that because,
Yes.
because they played again.
They released the list.
Yeah.
All right, so then you did Trifecta again, Car Mechanic again, Caligulasaurus again, Gaspacho again, and who is Dave Curtin?
Dave Curiton, he's like a jazz guitarist.
Okay. That was, again, a walk through the atrium?
I think he's a guitarist for Life Science.
Well, that's a good segue to next year when the Pete Roth trio featuring Bill Bruford will be on the cruise. They're going to be there. Fripp says he'll go back. David Cross get him on there. Then you've got three-quarters of the Lark's Tongue.
Well,
it's crazy.
Mr. Ballou will be on board, but also. So
was he on this past one?
No.
Oh, he
but
was.
the upcoming.
Okay.
So we've got all of King Crimson just not together.
Just not the,
Is Tony going to be there? You got to just get Tony Levin in. Come on.
Okay.
Stickman is going to be on board.
Stickman going to be there?
Yeah.
So all of King Crimson is going to be there from the 80s. Just separately.
Just saying, Bill's on board. Yeah.
So did you see Haken again, Aristocrats?
Yes. We didn't see Aristocrats.
Okay. Did you go see Saga at midnight?
We did not.
Oh.
So.
And then you did.
Because it was in the Stardust Lounge, and I guess they were running behind.
Thank you, Scientists.
But Thank You, Scientists was fabulous on the pool stage and just lit it up. And we did Late Night Live more than once, and normally in the past we hadn't done it much. But the musicians that are attendees, that are paying guests, the level of musicianship has just gone up year after year.
Yes.
So, there are musicians that just came out and played. That just like you were supposed to play with the two of us, and we were going to do YYZ together, but instead, somebody from Kersner's band walks out and says, "Hey, I want to play a few songs." Okay, I think that'll work.
Sure.
Right. So that was a lot of fun, and
I was going to sing on YYZ.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Lead vocalist. Guest vocalist.
Yes.
Given that there's no vocals.
That's right.
He was going to be lead triangle.
He was going to say, if you don't know the origin of this song, it is the Toronto airport code. So anyway.
Okay.
All right.
Day
Final day.
Final day.
Okay.
High noon.
Theme. Pink Floyd night.
I know.
What does that mean?
I guess everybody gets high.
Okay.
Yeah, they should get Saucer Full of Secrets on.
Maybe they tried.
Yeah.
Do you say Pink Floyd's Prog? I would.
I say Pink Floyd.
Close enough.
Yeah, early.
There are moments that are not. There are moments that are. But, come on.
Just based on their success, they do transcend genres a bit. But it's rock, but it's definitely more on the prog side.
Oh, it's definitely more on the prog side.
So, totally.
All
right, day 5.
All right, day 5. You didn't even go to the Wakeman Q&A. At least you could have gotten more
information,
more info out of him.
About the fact that he wasn't going to be touring ever
again. And now he's touring?
Well,
he's not touring solo piano
anymore.
Select shows.
So, Pure Reason had to go see him again, and that was great because both of their shows were on the pool stage, but they did do the same set because they have a very limited catalog, and they wanted to be tight. And so, again, it's real easy to just go out to the pool stage and hang out, get a cup of coffee. Then we bopped into the Thank You Scientist Riverside, and it wasn't Gazpacho, it was Haken photo experience. Kersner then took over the stage a couple hours later. So
That's when Billy Sherwood was out
I
there with
sent
him.
you some pictures of
Yeah.
him. He did well. He has been saying that he hasn't been playing his normal stuff and his Sound of Contact stuff because he's been so immersed in his Lamb project. So he's redid Lamb Lies Down on Broadway from scratch.
Yeah.
And so he's brought in everybody, and he's
Dave
getting
Kersner has done this?
yeah,
or
he's
Billy
getting
Sherwood?
ready to release that.
Wasn't that done already?
Well,
Okay. Billy
Isn't that
Sherwood
what-
did like a tribute to it,
what
didn't
did,
he?
No, what did
well, Hackett does it too.
Giraffe. Who was the guy? Is no longer with us. The Prog guy.
Yeah.
This is the Giraffe with the
Kevin Gilbert.
Kevin Gilbert. Didn't they do the Lamb?
Oh, I don't know.
thought
Oh,
they
he did. Wait. But that's
Well,
30 years
and,
ago.
and
Okay.
Dave
I'm just saying.
and Dave
I'm just saying.
Dave Kersner has said that it was. I'm not going to say it was a dream or anything, but he a long time ago, 5 or 6 years ago, he's like, to him, this is the most epic record ever, and he needs to embrace it and get his head around it. And so he's brought in everybody, and he's rebuilding that. So on the ship, he's like, we're going to go back and do some Sound of Contact stuff because, there were people that sang on Pink Floyd records, or they were
Yeah.
the McBroom sisters, and so they sang with him, and that was great. It was why I love Sound of Contact. Obviously, Simon Collins was not on board the boat, but I love his voice. Phil's kid,
Yeah.
but these people filled in pretty well.
So I'm looking at the list of who you saw again. So
Yeah.
you saw Pendragon again. You saw Dave Curitan again. You
Was
saw.
Pendragon different set?
No,
Okay, but still cool.
So the
And they've
only
been-
new person that you've seen is now Steve Hackett gets added to the list. That's
we
the-
finally
you finally go see
got
Steve
to
Hackett.
see him on
He's
the last day.
highlighting the Lamb on this particular tour, or at least for
No,
the tour.
he
that's-
opens with 3 of his newer songs,
Okay.
and
From
and
the
they're
Whale.
and they're heavy. They're heavy. They're
it's
good.
We talked about
There's
that
a lot less nad in those songs, and then the 4th song into his set was Carpet Crawlers, and he says, we're going to need you guys to help out here. And unfortunately, here's Marco. He's into the first 3 songs and the Carpet Crawler, and he doesn't know. He doesn't know the music.
He doesn't know the old.
He doesn't
Genesis?
know any Genesis. He could care less about Genesis.
Wow.
So he does. So they go into this.
He didn't really say that.
He went into this.
Rock show.
Yeah. Wow.
He likes heavy
Yeah,
music.
Jeez, we're dissing
Heavy
Genesis. I'm always dissing the Awaken and Starless. We're just so negative.
Yeah, from you, especially, Mr.
All right. So
Jonathan Crimson.
how was Steve Hackett? Did you see him when he came to the Fairfield
Yeah.
Theater?
Yes.
What? How
I was in
long?
the front row.
Of course you.
How
But I
long?
saw him last year on the ship.
How long would Steve Hackett have played? For
They
this
all
particular-
get about 90 to 100 minutes.
All right.
And it was tough because, here's the pool stage was supposed to be Temec, and we were like, oh man. So,
Oh, the timing. I got
and the
you.
timing, but we were in the front row, we couldn't leave.
Yeah.
Craig Blundell goes into a drum solo, and it's, every once in a while you're like, I could care less about a drum solo. The guy was on the ship playing with everybody, and here it is, the last day at night, and he just destroyed his drum set.
Ripping it.
He's so good, and so
Wow.
it was a good thing we stayed in, because then it re-energized the band, and they finished with much more upbeat stuff of Hackett's catalog.
Nice.
So that was a great show. We come up from that show, having been in the front of the ship, sailing toward Miami, not thinking anything of anything, thinking we're late for this concert, which is all the way in the back of the boat
But it also
and
rained.
all the way up. So we know our way around the ships, and we go through all the cabins to avoid the crowd instead of going up and out and elevators. No, we're using the stairs. We're walking 5 miles a day.
Right.
And we come walking out off the, when the sliding doors open,
To the
and there's
pouring rain.
nobody. The pool stage is empty, and there's just water everywhere. It had torrentially rained and wiped everything out. So I was like, oh my God, what are we gonna do now? So we go back to the cabin. Now it's like 8, 9 o'clock. It's like, well, we'll go get some food. And they make an announcement that Temec's gonna move to the atrium for 10:15. They said, or 10:45, and so we're just sitting around. We're playing chess or something, and it's like, might as well just go to sleep because nothing's gonna happen, and we got to get up at 5:30 in the morning.
This is instead of going to see Taddei.
No, so we're like, let's see, because they keep announcing, they're gonna go on at 10, and it's gonna be 10:45. Well, it was maybe about 11:30. They finally, we were there.
Of course,
We found a place.
You woke up and
There was a really big guy from Europe who we saw the whole week, and he's like 7 feet tall, and he's sitting. And every time he got up, I was like, "Are you leaving?" And I'm like, "Are you leaving?" Beer. So he'd sit and get another beer. So like he's right in front of me the whole time. Finally, he got up, and we were like up on the balcony. Finally, he did get up, and they still hadn't come on stage yet. And I got the stool, So I'm like, Margaret, let's go. And so we got to like sort of stand till they played till 1 o'clock in the morning. And again, Frederick went up the little staircase and sat on the stairs while belting out the tunes, and it was so good. There were balloons because there's huge balloons. Well, it was going to be
Adrian balloons.
No, it was going to be a send off at the pool.
Oh,
got it.
done.
And now you're in this little bathroom, and there's these balloons, and people are kicking them around. And it's like they're ending up in the face of the musicians, and they're not happy. They're being like,
They're not happy. Yeah, they're not happy.
you're trying to play the keyboard, and a balloon hits you in the head.
So you're doing that big train. Big train has ended.
Yes.
So everybody is at the
Yes.
at the end.
Everybody.
They either went to bed or they went
That's right.
to the atrium.
Okay.
And we couldn't get into that because what happens is, if you're the opposite laminate, you could go an hour before the show, stand in line to get a wristband. They give out 100 wristbands, but they may not, to see who doesn't show up.
Yeah.
So if I don't show up,
Then somebody can take my seat.
that's right.
And you're like, you don't need.
We're not
this.
waiting, but we did-
You saw.
We saw.
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
So
So.
it was
Wow.
fun. So that,
So
And then so it ends, and
then it ends, and then you
Do they
leave the next
announce-
morning. You run into the sky.
Do they air
do they
July?
announce anything while you're there
No.
about the next year? Or
Nope.
It's just kind of like that's that.
we just,
Bye,
like everybody else,
disembark.
we got the pre-notification because of alumni.
Yeah.
With the list, and then there were a lot of places that were blacked out that they hadn't filled in the blanks
Yeah.
yet. And
those
now
filled in?
yeah, now they've added Haken, which you knew they were going to add, and
Marillion, are they going back?
Marillion.
Marillion is. So here's the thing: Marillion is #1 headliner. Meaning, if I went on this cruise, I would only get to see them for 90 minutes, and that's a shame.
Okay.
But then you never know because
As opposed to what?
As opposed to
three
seeing-
times
Like, they're not gonna play the pool stage.
So it's like Hackett, Steve Hackett.
Yeah, but you never know. Like Steve Rothery has a new thing that just came out with one of the Tangerine Dream people, I think.
They're all
Oh,
dead.
is that right?
Oh,
I'm sorry. That's a sore spot. I am not a Tangerine Dream is a legitimate curb band. Just like I'm not like Gong is a I don't
Okay.
care that original members.
So for 2026, Marillion
that will
has,
be another episode. Just
Yes.
saying. Okay.
and that sort of bothers me that it would be the same set list twice, and maybe I would only get to see them once. And I really fell in love with them after the 2024 cruise.
Steve Hogarth is playing Prog Stock or whatever it is in New Jersey this summer.
That's
Oh
right.
right,
Yeah.
yeah.
I know those.
So
guys.
maybe he would do like a solo
might.
little moment.
He
on-
might.
And I know the
Well,
guys
maybe
who
the
organize
Rothery
that.
band. You can get multiple.
We'll talk to Mike. I can contact Michael, who organizes that.
When is that?
There'll definitely be a Crimson
June.
night on the next.
There
one,
should
right?
be a Crimson
Yeah, I
night.
wanna hear
I
about
mean, every
Crimson
member
night.
of Crimson
That's
if
still
you-
alive.
That's still alive.
If we
is Crimson.
If we can cut it, we should go. It's
see
easy.
Steve
To
Hogarth.
At Prog Stock? Who else is playing? There's like 3 bands, I thought. Prog Stock.
Look it up. So you got Haken.
We're supposed to know.
Oh,
this
Eddie
stuff,
Johnson.
Oh, Eddie
Oh,
Johnson
Eddie's-
next
he's
year.
back.
He's going to be on
He's
this.
back.
Big Train's going to be on
Again?
this. Then, Peter Roth with Bill Bruford. I think Adrian Ballou, Flower Kings are
Oh,
going to be
Flower
on there.
Kings.
King's X. No, not King's X. I think Symphony X and
Will
Queensryche are going to be on it.
Will Neil Morse be back?
I didn't see him.
Oh,
Oh,
Any-
okay. So you've got.
any
I'm
iteration.
sorry. This is Prog Stock. Actually, sounds pretty good. So you got H Natural, which is
Yep.
Steve
Steve
Hogarth,
Hogarth.
first ever US
first ever
show.
U.S.
Then
I'm like, if he's coming for that, can't
Yeah.
he do a little 5-day tour?
Then you got Mike Keneally,
Oh,
which is cool.
Yep,
That's
he's great.
cool.
He's great.
Sadler from Saga
yeah, he's
and IQ Earth, IO Earth.
I.O. Earth.
Okay. You should be on every episode because all these bands we don't know anything about. You do.
Yeah.
Seriously.
I.O. Earth is a solid band. And they're the band that probably had the most Cruise to the Edge appearances up until,
Yeah.
they weren't on the boat this year, but one of their members was. But Neil Morse is now Cosmic Cathedral.
Yeah,
He
I saw that.
He has his solo stuff. That band's really tight. They
I was just gonna say
the night
if you
before
got-
the cruise, and we missed it, but everybody talked about it because his keyboard went out, and they're like, "What are we gonna do now?" And his new band is there, and one of the guys goes, "Well, we did some AC/DC when I was in college." They go into Thunderstruck, and then they go into Highway to Hell.
I'm sure Neil loved
And
that.
Neil's still trying to get his keyboards. Yeah, exactly, right? Two songs that God Squad was not happy with. But his new Cosmic Cathedral is growing on me. It's Chester Thompson on drums.
Oh,
So, and I like Phil Keaggy. And so
Yeah.
Phil Keaggy's on guitar.
Another legend.
It's pretty good. It's got a lot of religious undertone, but to be expected.
yep.
And so that's a new record that just came out Friday.
So the cruise ends. You made it home okay. No nothing.
No issues.
No issues.
Yeah.
Good. And you guys are you signed up for next year already, or
No.
are you
we
doing
made-
next year? I guess that's the question.
I think if anybody goes, I'm going, but I don't think my son is going to go because he had promised his wife and his children that he would only go every 2 years, and he's been on the last 3. So it's
Is it?
called-
Oh, is it? It's now every year. It's supposed to. Wasn't it every
yeah,
2 years?
it was
And now
it was
okay.
bouncing around.
Okay.
But, so and right now the lineup to me is not as solid as I want it to be
Okay.
to warrant this.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to go without this, which means it would cost a lot of money to be there by myself.
You gotta go. That's like 3 or 4 episodes for us. Come on. it's like so you guys gotta go to Prog Stock. That's an episode.
I'll take Jay with me. I'll quickly share the official set list for Thank You Scientists
There you go.
Nice.
Handwritten on a piece- on an 8.5 by 11
on their
from
loadout.
Whoa,
Marshall Stack.
No
Now
brown
you know
M&Ms.
what Zildjian symbols are being
Nice.
used.
Oh,
And then a more
The
official,
official.
Big Train.
there you
their
go.
first
big train.
They never got to Love Is the Light
Oh,
because they extended
right.
To be
but Black with Ink I had never heard before.
There
So
you go.
It was so cool because it goes way back. And so it was kind of nice. And Last 11's on the new record. Apollo, they extended with some solos. And Alberto.
That's why they didn't have time for.
No, Alberto gets on the drums, and it was great. Telling the Bees is a really cool, mellow song that David Longdon wrote. And they did it just Ricard, the guitars, on a like Fender Rhodes piano, and Nick with the guitar singing. So it was kind of cool.
Cool.
Excellent.
It was just a really tight, fantastic.
So you'll keep us updated.
Yeah, we'll add it to our list. We'll have the Cruise to the Edge 2026 watch as Tim going.
Yeah.
No, well, we have. I mean,
And guys, as
well,
always,
we like having you on, and,
Well,
and
thank
it's
you. I
great talking
appreciate it.
Prague with you. And so you kind of have to go, but I'm not.
Yeah, I know. We're not saying you have to
No,
go.
we'll
but-
have you.
yeah,
Believe me,
but
we'll have
to
you
go.
on. I'm sure you'll be on a few, a number of times before.
$10,000.
So,
Yeah, John.
Where's the GoFundMe?
Can we talk about Steven Wilson real fast?
Real fast.
We're going to see him. We're going to see him in September.
September.
Oh,
His,
okay.
his
He's coming to
tour
the Capitol
started this
Theater.
week. Yeah.
Excellent. Excellent.
His tour started
All right.
last Tuesday.
Yeah.
He's only
Something
done
like that, yeah.
like 4 shows, 3 or 4 shows in London
Yeah.
to kick it off.
His hometown.
Yep.
Hometown shows.
And he's very thankful, sold out crowds, multimedia or multi-visual.
He's got
experience.
comedians opening acts
Huh.
as an opening act.
Really?
Yes.
Interesting.
He goes, people think I'm too
Serious?
uptight.
Yeah.
So
That's
I
good.
got comedians opening.
I heard of a special guest at some shows. Who are they? You know,
I have no idea.
So we'll. I mean, it's a few months away, but
Yes.
we'll enjoy.
We
that.
certainly will.
We'll totally enjoy that.
Yes.
That recap. All right, Prog will find a way.
If you wanted to.